He's going live. Once again, I'll start the meeting. It's January 20th, 2022. We called the meeting to order at actually 8:02. We welcomed Donna to our little group. Do you want me to go through and read the motions, or do we want to officially make them again?
Why don't you read the motions, because we made them
Okay. Okay, so the reading and approval of minutes from our December 16th meeting. Motion was made by Fred, motion made by Brian, seconded by Fred. Our finance report, the checks were approved by Maggie, seconded by Brian. The cash flow motion was approved by Maggie, seconded by Brian. We have decided to table the handbook policy update for further research till our February meeting. Then we went into executive session at 8:09 for contract negotiation discussions. The motion was made by Eric, seconded by Fred. We came out of executive session, motion by Brian, seconded by Maggie at 8:22. We are all caught up.
Okay. So I need a motion for April to be able to negotiate a consulting contract.
Maggie will make the motion for April to negotiate a consultant contract.
Okay, I need a second on that.
Second,
Okay.
Eric.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's done. All right.
Okay. Do you want me to just launch
Yep.
into the projects?
Yeah, let's
Okay,
go on to
so
project. Let's go on to projects.
under the executive director report, the projects that we are currently, we worked on this month. Flint Mine, we had our information session over at the high school auditorium. We had 3 people in attendance, but due to COVID, I did do a digital a Zoom where about 8 people Zoomed in. We recorded it. It's up on our website now. There's a presentation. I'd like to think of this as more of it was a trial run for our official public hearing, which we will have eventually. So it was a presentation. No comments were made by the public. So more information got out there to the public. And the solar valuation is underway with our consultants as well. So Patrick and Bill with Flint Mine are now communicating with our solar valuation people. Is there any questions on Flint Mine?
What do we think of in terms of timing, April, from a public hearing, from a next steps point of?
Well, I believe it's about another month out before we get the valuation. So once we start crunching those numbers, I'll start the finding statement. Renee will probably review the finding statement. I'm thinking it's going to be similar to the Freepoint finding statement, but there's different numbers that we want to put out to the community. Like the state did this new valuation, so the assessors know about this. Our consultants are working on getting us those numbers. So that when we do how much would they pay at 100%, it's that cash flow or the cash versus cost analysis. So we'll have all those numbers crunched, hopefully within, I want to say the next month or so, and we can present that to the board. And then I guess I will have to talk to my consultant about the timing on all the approvals, which I believe are all in place for Flint Mine.
Surprised there's no comments on April. I figured
no, and I offered up, we have our info@Greene IDA email also that people just send in comments, concerns, and questions. But this one went to the state. I want to say there was 600 comments on the state application. So I can probably try to pull those up if anybody's interested in reading those comments.
No, I just thought there might be more activity.
Right. And Patrick has met with a lot of the community members directly before even starting up the IDA application. So different things have been changed, like the scope of there's mapping. So if you look at the presentation, there's like a before and after of how many acres are going to be used, and the community members that are either leasing or they're purchasing their land. So anything else on Flint Mine? I'll get an actual schedule out to the board on timing on everything also. So I attended a meeting with the county for the Carroll Water Infrastructure Project. Preliminary, we're in very preliminary stages. So the county is working with Delaware Engineering, the town was there, and a property owner, just to start the discussion of timelines. And I do have that sheet also that I can email the board of, we're going to be signing a contract with the county and an agreement with Delaware before we proceed. And I have a draft contract that I'm looking at regarding how the money will flow, whether it'll be the county submits the payments and then we reimburse. So I have to figure that one out as well. So
April, that may provide a good opportunity in your conversations with the county to see if they ever made any awards
sure.
pursuant to the RFP that they issued in October, particularly because of the Delaware engineering angle, you know, in terms of how the payments will flow and what the role of the IDA is expected to be, et cetera.
Okay. Okay. Share with board. Okay, anything else on Carroll Water? Okay. Empire Riverfront Ventures, I am going to need a motion from the board. I am working on the audit. So I send out a letter tracking their sales tax usage. And there was delays on construction materials and hiring construction general contractors. And so I am thinking that we need to extend it for 1 year, not the value. They're staying in budget with the sales tax usage for now. I can't say over the year whether construction materials are going to go up in price again, but for now, I just like to extend their ST60 to the end of February 2023 to give them time to use that exemption.
You want that motion today?
Yes,
April?
please.
Okay, so I need a motion to extend Empire Riverfront's ST60 to, you said February 2023?
Yep, Dan will make that motion.
Thank you,
Okay,
Dan.
thank you.
I'll
I need a
second it.
second.
Brian,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
okay, so
Okay.
I'll get that updated. Thank you. Okay, Wilder Wyndham, they are still planning to open soon or sometime in the spring. Same thing, they had some delays in construction, but the update is should be opening soon. Camptown, they sent me their update. So their goal is to open between July 4th and Labor Day. Same with them, they had to hire a second contractor. So they're really trying to get all this work done. Chippy, Paul and I are working on the closing documents now. I sent back some comments late last night. So I'll work with Paul and getting those drafts over to their representatives soon. We're ahead of the game on Chippy, I think. So,
Yes.
okay, thank you, Paul. And I'm sorry, Donna, all of these finding statements and information on all of our projects are located on our website.
Okay,
So I
great.
can send you that link. So off to the left on our website is current projects and new projects. So when you click on those, every time we update any of the approved documents, I upload them to the website.
Great.
Okay, so do we have any questions on projects?
This isn't a project, but have we had any movement on the sale of the old
Oh, I
gas
have
station?
that. I moved that to parks.
Oh, you moved that to parks, okay.
Yeah, sorry. So, so these are individual projects, pilots up on top, and then under the parks, I've started categorizing it for each of our parks, current parks. If the project falls under those realms, I moved it to parks. So I'll just launch into that. Exit 21 East, the contract for the throughway land, that's being reviewed by the comptroller's office. So it's still up at the state. I do not know when the closing will be between the state and the county. Once I get feedback from the county, then we will schedule something for when the closing will be between the LDC and the county, because that land will go through the LDC. So it's moving along. And then also under exit 21 East, I had a phone call, a Zoom meeting with a hotel developer that's possibly interested in the old Quality Insight. Very preliminary discussions. I sent them some maps and some engineering, so they're looking at that now. But that would be nice to be coming out of COVID and actually having a hotel developed where we want a hotel developed.
Man, that's great that they reached out to us.
Yes, yes. So it actually was from an email that Renee had sent out in 2017 to this
Yeah.
group, and they responded to that recently.
Good.
So is there any questions on that site?
Oh.
Go ahead.
I'm, pardon me, I'm on the site, but I don't see Chippy. So I
Oh.
wonder,
It's Champlain Hudson.
okay, that's what I thought. Okay,
Sorry.
that's all right.
I'll type it out so that we can all follow along, the public too.
In April, maybe before or at our next meeting, maybe we can try to find an opportunity to give Donna some briefings on some of these
Sure.
projects, just a quick rundown, because I know it's a
Okay.
lot. and You're wondering what some of these things are. So maybe at some point, or maybe you two can get together and just give her a
Definitely.
rundown on some of these projects. So she's got a little, briefing on some of that stuff.
It might be nice if you could actually come in. I have a lot of maps and paperwork and files,
Okay.
or I can email them to you also. So
You can stop
I'll set
by.
up a time. That makes sense. Yes. Okay. So moving on to exit 21 West. We did receive back the contract this week, signed. So we have an option on the garage. And I talked with them. They plan to start everything up, due diligence, February 1st. So I'd like to say that, they're about 90% sure that they really, really want to do this, but we'll see how they get through all their due diligence. I offered up my assistance on any paperwork they need or other reports. And that's going to be a sharing also, that if they develop any reports, they'll share them with us.
Great.
And then also over at exit 21 West, Columbia Memorial Hospital, they signed an extension, another 6-month extension on their option agreement. So they are currently working with the county on those pads that are up to the back behind the garage. And yesterday we had a meeting with the highway department on paving. So the road that's coming out from Forest Hills where we removed all the mailboxes.
Yeah.
That is going to be a new intersection. So we're working with the county on how that intersection is going to be laid out. The IDA did hire Creighton Manning right before COVID. And then we obviously, everything was suspended during that. We didn't do that. So the county is now looking and putting it on their radar and their schedule to do the intersection and the paving. It should look nice.
I've been thinking, because the hospital and the county have been quite visible in the press,
Mhm.
about that. So it strikes me, it's interesting that it's not reported as an option, right? It's almost reported that the county intends on moving, locating some of their services into that space, and the hospital is also looking at doing that. I've been thinking about this, the county, they're extending the gas line. Central
Yes.
Hudson is extending the gas line there, which is good, but I keep on going back to the state's parallel climate goals and wondering, if at some point extending the gas line there seems to be, setting them up for something that may not be widely available or may be problematic in terms of gas availability and whether or not that's going to be the energy source. So I realize it's in some way it's not our problem, and I know we've made investments to get the gas line to where it is.
Right.
I was just wondering what we might be thinking in terms of alternative energy, and what should we be doing some thinking about that, given how difficult the state is making it for new gas hookups in certain areas, and whether or not that's going to be a problem for anybody that we're looking to attract there over the next several years.
Maggie, the one thing I would say is, and you're correct, I think, in your assessment of what the state is saying, but the reality is a building, a 40,000 square foot building, I mean, there's almost, I'm not aware of any alternative that would even be remotely cost feasible. So I think maybe on the other end, let's get it in now before something becomes prohibitive. And I mean, my personal feeling, because I've read some of their stuff, I actually think they're going to come back around on gas and say this is actually a reasonable, it actually is the cleanest, best reasonable alternative for a big building like that. To try to do electric heat in a building like that, could you imagine the juice it would need to?
No, I can't, and I just don't know what we're going to be left with upstate here.
You're
as
right.
they keep on pushing these things down. It feels like it's a counter pressure with no solution. That's
Right.
that's sort of where I was thinking about. I'm like, great, everybody makes the investment and then they come in and like turn the spigot. As long as you think that somebody will, I don't want to say cooler heads will prevail, but somebody will take a longer look to see that we don't have reasonable alternatives.
Yeah, I just think I think the lack of it is a deal breaker to build a building if it's not there. And I think we've heard that from people. So I think we just have to go and hopefully, like you said, cooler heads prevail, or common sense comes into this a little bit and says this is the only way to go.
Yeah, they can use geothermal there. I mean,
Right.
I don't know what the numbers would look like. That's an alternative.
And I think even though with geothermal, you still need something to bridge the gap to take that temperature up at a certain point. So, I think the answer is you use, you look to the electrical side and maybe you do something with solar panels or purchase a solar. But in terms of heat, in a building like that, it's a tremendous amount of product to make that building warm.
Yeah.
Well, I can definitely talk with the county again on this project. I did sit in on a meeting. I'm not sure who said it because there's all different colloquialisms, but they call this a unicorn, that approvals for these gas line extensions are going to be less and less going forward. So they are pushing it. I know they just voted on it recently. Again, they talked about it at the last meeting, the county meeting, that it's approved and they're going to start work on it. So
That's good.
get it done, get it in the ground.
Yeah, you can get before somebody changes their mind.
Right.
Okay.
So that's what I have on exit 21 West. Is there any other questions on that grouping, that park? Okay, so regarding Green Business and Technology Park, just a quick update. We did have a Zoom meeting with Preferred Properties. They own the 20 acres. They're switch divided into about 3 parcels. So that's the land around the bank and across from Reds. So NAI platform has been hired to start marketing that land again. So we
This
might
is
see
the
some
Jerry
activity.
Ryan property, right?
Yeah, Jerry Ryan.
Yeah, also known as, yeah.
So as I hear things, I will share them with the board, but hopefully we could get some of that land developed since it was, I believe, sold in 2005.
Right.
We've also had brief conversations with people interested in the 27 acres, which runs down Technology Drive. And there's a 1.7 acres that we own that's in front of Save-A-Lot. So it's no updates yet, but we have had preliminary discussions on both of those lots.
Okay,
Any
great.
questions on Green Business? No? Okay, and then Kalkberg, we have an interested party in the 14.37 acres. So that's in front of CERTA. We sent a draft, or I sent a draft option agreement over for them to review. And then I'll update the board as I have details on them. I haven't signed any confidentiality agreements. I've explained that we're a public entity, so it's very preliminary discussion. And then the only motion under Kalkberg that I would like to do is last year we updated the lights in Green Business, and I would like to go ahead and move forward with the contract with Chris Schwartz for the 11 new LED street lamps in Kalkberg Commerce Park, which I have the,
What was that quote? Was it 5 or 6 grand last year, April?
yes, I have it. I have it here in my notes.
So April, you want a motion to do the next round of lights there?
Right, so the quote for the 11 street lamps is $4,396.04.
Okay,
Yeah,
So I
we
need a
discussed that. I'll make that motion, Eric.
okay, thank you.
A second.
Thank you.
Second, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, let's get it done before the cost goes up again.
No, right, so I wanted to order the equipment now. The only other thing I have under new and miscellaneous, this is actually not really new, it's miscellaneous, it's very old. The Wigwam Educational Project, I sort of took it over from Renee last year. I've been meeting with the tribe, the archaeologist that worked over at Ferguson, SHPO, and our historic society. We still want to do this. So in the notes, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I gave you kind of the background of what it is. In the past, the IDA has spent 75, 80,000 on archaeology. So that's to dig up sensitive areas. We collect tools or boxes of rocks that have been used as tools or anything like shards of pottery, anything we can find. And then we usually donate it back to the Stockbridge-Muncie tribe. Renee came up with this great idea of doing it more of an educational thing with the Bronx Museum, where we put up a wigwam and we do panels discussing the indigenous tribes that were here on our land historically. And so I've been working with people at Stockbridge-Muncie. Renee went out, visited their tribe, and they are all on board with this. Currently, the MOU, the agreement for this, is hung up at the Army Corps. There was some change in leadership there, so I am working with them to get that pushed through, but it's in the higher up level of being approved. So this, hopefully, we're working on the artwork and the panels now, but we can't actually build the wigwam until spring, since we don't have the MOU now, so it'll be maybe next spring. But this will wrap up the Ferguson permitting.
This was a mitigation for our permit, right?
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah, seemed like a good idea and that we'd already have it done, but that's the way it goes with down court.
Yeah, it's just that one document. Once we get that signed off, the tribe is comfortable moving forward with this. And they appreciate this effort.
Right.
Instead of digging up more. I think we donated over 20 boxes of shards and stones to them. And a lot of it goes into storage. We did do some educational things at Coxsackie Athens School. I know they have some samples on display in their library, but this would be for the entire public. So any questions on my wigwam project? No. Okay.
Okay. April, if you could just, I know we talked about this before, and I know Renee, I keep forgetting who we reached out to the county to get Donna's name there. Usually it goes down to their a committee, right? And they do it in committee.
Right. So we discussed talking to Sean. You could meet with him or maybe set up a Zoom or conference call to present.
Okay,
our name.
I mean, I could, and I actually did want to go down and talk to Sean. I just was almost thinking of getting a dual track thing going here of get that in process and then
Okay.
also.
I'll work on that.
Yeah, if you could do that and just because I don't want to miss the timeline. I don't know when their committees meet and what their schedule is.
Yep.
So
Okay, I'll get the
if-
February committee meetings.
Yeah, if you could get it in process and then I'll reach out to Sean once that's in process and go down and have a meeting with them. And I think maybe Fred or whoever else is willing to go with me, maybe tag along with me down there to just give Sean a briefing of where we're heading. And that's how we'll handle that.
Okay.
Happy to go, Eric. We'd also, had we at one point talked about discussions around Renee's potential role, or is that ship sailed? Anything we need to do with the legislature in terms of
Well, I don't think we need to do
addressing
it.
that or discussing it?
I think I think in terms of Sean, we're giving him a courtesy kind of briefing on that of, what we're doing or kind of our shift in operations here. And, so we'll talk about that then. And I just want to make sure we get Donna's stuff in the pipeline as well. So as
Great.
soon as they're notified about, notified with Donna's info and that's in process, we'll reach out to Sean, make an appointment. Are there any days, Fred, better for you than not?
Mondays are typically not good, otherwise I can accommodate.
Yeah, same with me. Mondays are never good for me. So we'll get back in touch on that. We'll figure it out and we'll just keep down there.
Yep, I'll talk to Sean and then I'll get with you guys on maybe an email, set up a call or set up an in-person meeting. I'm not sure what they're doing down at the county right now, but I'll find out.
Okay, you're right. I don't know
Eric,
if they're letting people
back
in.
up.
What is it?
Eric, this is Maggie. If you need a backup or, schedules don't align, I'm happy to try and fill in if Fred's not available and we can't get schedules to align.
Great, thanks for that. Yeah, I just think it's good always to have, it's always good to have two people in the room, right? So nothing was ever misunderstood. Okay.
Okay, that's what I have.
Okay, so if nobody has anything else, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, good job, April. You got your first meeting under your belt.
Thank you.
All right, piece of
Thank
cake.
you.
All
Okay,
right, thank you, everybody. And we'll, hopefully next month, maybe we can do it in person.
okay. Thank you.
Thanks,
All
everybody.
right,
Thank you.
thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.